Alright, this is an experiment. We're gonna see how this goes. How it goes, see how it sounds. Alright. So I wanted to tell you about this really crazy dream that I had a couple weeks ago. And it's kind of been bothering me. Not necessarily that it was a bad dream, but it was, I don't know. My dreams have always been weird, and this felt above and beyond what I would say is normal weird. So, pretty much, well, I guess it doesn't really matter how much detail I go into or don't. But long story long, the whole thing started out, I was among a group of people that were on something kind of like a reality TV show. But I'm not even sure if it was a reality TV show, but it was kind of like a battle royale survivor type deal. And I honestly don't even remember what the prize was, because that goes to show you how much I honestly cared about it. But essentially, this group of people and you had to defeat your opponents to advance to the next round, whatever, increasing stakes. You know how all of that battle royale crap goes. So, God, I hate waiting at this spot. So, essentially, people discovered that the best way to advance, rather than just defeating your opponents, the best way to move on and move up was to kill somebody to increase your position in the ranking. After I watched a few people do this, because I had taken up a position in hiding, I honestly don't even know where, but I was at a high vantage point because I could see a lot of what was going on below me. I don't necessarily think I was in a tree, but I know I was up near a cliff face somewhere. And I watched a few people literally take the lives of some of our fellow competitors. And when they did so, they were then killed for doing so. And so obviously, killing your opponents was not the wisest or best way to move up in the rankings. So me being me and always thinking outside of the box, I was like, well, what could I do that would be different, that wouldn't cause any harm to anybody else? Because I'm kind of squishy and a bleeding heart when it comes to stuff like that. I'd really rather not hurt people unless I have absolutely no choice. And in this case, I did have a choice. So, from my vantage point of being very high up, I decided that the best thing I could do, if my only options were to kill or be killed, was to take myself off the map. And I did so by running and leaping off of a cliff face. And after I jumped, rather than falling to my inevitable end and doom, everything slowed way down. We're talking super ultra 4K definition slow motion as I'm falling through the air. The scenery around me changes probably 5 or 6 times. Went from being like out in the middle of nowhere in the woods to falling through the air in a city like I had jumped off a skyscraper, to being over a river, to being over a desert. And next thing I knew, I was in a place that was kind of dark. And I wouldn't say it was a cave or anything, but it gave me very liminal outside of time and space vibes. Kind of like the back rooms, if you've ever seen any of that stuff all over YouTube right now. Think somewhere kind of like that. A place that exists, but you're not really supposed to be able to get there, and you aren't necessarily supposed to know that it's there. But this place looked like backstage at an outdoor concert. So the ground was just bare and kind of muddy. There was also a train track for whatever reason. I'm not sure where it went or where it came from. But I'm still falling through the air and land face down in the dirt behind what I assume is a stage of some sort at the foot of a large wooden throne, which is the only way I can describe this chair. And there's a man sitting in it. And he looks immaculate and amazing. Think like the way that Alucard was drawn in the original sketches for Castlevania Symphony of the Night, like long flowing hair. He's got like this loose billowy white shirt. He's wearing leather pants and knee-high boots. And he's just sitting there on this throne with his fist on his hand, looking bored as all get out. And aside from the fact that he looks like gothic vampire deliciousness with long auburn hair, his left eye is not actually an eye at all. It's like his left eye is this constantly moving and flowing and weeping vessel of blood. It's very strange. But even with that, he doesn't seem menacing or scary or like he means me harm in any way, shape, or form. And I'm like face down in the dirt at this dude's feet, right? So I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna end well. And this man just gets up, stands on his feet, reaches down, offers me a hand, doesn't care that I'm covered in dirt, pulls me to my feet, and he gives me this little kind of sideways crooked smile. And all he says is, "You're not supposed to be here yet." And he touches my forehead with his first two fingers, and I woke up, like, in a cold sweat, panicking, adrenaline pumping through my veins, like the house was on fire. That's how panicked I was when I woke up. And I don't know what to think of it. I've done some research, and I'm honestly pretty sure that it was less of a dream and more astral projection, and that's why he said I wasn't supposed to be there yet. Not quite sure what yet means. I'm trying to tell myself that it wasn't an ominous thing, that it wasn't meant to be threatening, because it didn't feel threatening. I've seen some pretty weird stuff my whole life, so I've learned not to judge things by the way that they look, but to always trust that kind of gut instinct. Like, okay, it looks scary, but does it seem like it's trying to hurt you, or is it just that it looks scary? It's just that it looks scary. Ooh, it looks really pretty, but it feels bad, so it clearly means you harm regardless of what it looks like. So you kind of learn to like trust that sensation as time goes on. And I know I'm going to butcher the pronunciation because my Irish is horrendous, but I'm fairly certain that the entity that I encountered is Crom Croc, who was he was a harvest deity and kind of, sort of, almost the last remaining pagan deity in Ireland, from my understanding. There isn't a lot written about him. I did a lot of research, and it was hard to find just about anything. A lot of it was nonsense from territory grabbers from when St. Patrick came through, and we know what happens. The victors write the history books, so yeah. I'm not sure how to feel about it. I actually, about 2 weeks ago, because I had this dream like over a month ago now at this point, About 2 weeks ago, I had a dream that had him in it again. He was just present. There wasn't really much interaction. He was just kind of there. So I'm not sure if that means that he's watching out for me, that he's trying to get my attention. I don't know what to do with this information. But considering that my genetic roots are Irish and Scottish largely in origin, it would make sense for a deity like him to get my attention. Because initially, when I mentioned to a few other New Agey pagan friends of mine the one eye thing, they were like, well, maybe it's Odin. And I'm like, I don't know. Odin just doesn't feel right. And my roots, so far as I know, are not from Norway or anywhere in that region. We're Irish and Scottish. You can look at my mom and tell that she's definitely from there. But anyway, just a little ramble just to see how recording in the car goes. Let me know if you guys liked it or not. Let me know if you have any insight or input about Crom or paganism or anything. And if you don't have something nice to say, then don't say anything at all. I love you all. Take care. Make sure you drink your water. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.